Reklev against our upcoming Nordic star, Hermanni Hietalahti. It's such I need to learn my Finnish better, I really do.
Well, it's a much better job than I ever would have done, so well done to you. Tord Reklev, a name I'm sure you've heard a number of times. We're about to see some accomplishments. They're some of the most insane accomplishments, and they don't even scratch the surface. Tord Reklev is a 5-time international champion, the most absurd statistic based on just how many times he's made it into top 8s of internationals. I think it's over half of all of the internationals he's been in, and has been in, I think 7 finals, something like that, 6 finals at least. You know that your record is good when you can't even fit all the internationals that you've won on your accomplishments list. Forget the regional accomplishments, those aren't big enough. Even the internationals aren't big enough to fit on for Tord Reklev. But Hermanni's no slouch whatsoever. These are still phenomenal accomplishments, and we find them once again in touching distance of another great one here. Already a regional finalist in Bochum in 2023, and Hermanni has become so strong and so pronounced with the Comfey engine, flower selecting, and is once again finding themselves in this fantastic position. They've mastered this archetype and in a great position to make it to the final.
Once again, the name of the game is Pokemon. It's the trading card game. It's the regional championships. It's the top 4. One of these 2 players will advance to the finals and will have the chance to become the Stockholm regional champion. But it's all to play for here as these players start setting up, not quite ready to go yet. It's going to be interesting to see. I mean, there's going to be, of course, the coin flip to decide who goes first. Could that be big? Maybe not as much in this matchup.
Yeah, I think typically I would have thought that a general Charizard deck likes going second, so you can get access to Arven, which then unlocks, Forest Hill Stone and all these other cards, so that you can get that optimal turn 2 of getting Candy Pidgeot, Candy Charizard. That's not necessarily the avenue that Tord wants to go for in this matchup. So perhaps it may be better to go first as Tord. I'm not too sure. I think he still probably opts second, but there is potential to then fall prey to early Greninja shenanigans if your bench isn't protected, because Tord isn't playing the traditional Manaphy that you'd expect in Charizard decks. So maybe goes first just to try and evolve up earlier before there can be any shenanigans taking out early Pidgeys and whatnot.
Yeah, also a small clarification just to what's going on. Tord actually did split a sleeve just then. So they're just doing a quick little resleeve. Yeah, just doing a quick little resleeve there.
You know how to shuffle at this point, to be honest with you. One of those things. But they seem to be good sportsmen about it. I think they're both sleeving up the deck together, or at least helping out a little bit. So they're both chilling out, having fun, and it shouldn't be too long until we're getting into this action here. Yeah,
very good sportsmanship there from Hermanni, and it makes sense, of course, right? You want to get on with the game as quickly as possible, so, why not be a good sport and help your opponents resleeve your deck so you can just get on with things.
Yeah, I think Tord's moving over to the pinks, so we'll see how that goes for him, if it's going to be a good luck charm or not.
We give you a live count of how the sleeving is going. We got the view here. No, that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
Only 44 more to go. Ah, dearie me.
Yeah, sleeves are a funny one, aren't they? Because it's if you go way back to the start of card game tournaments, often people will play without any sleeves at all. Now that'd be completely unthinkable. It's sometimes I get the question right when people who aren't familiar with the game, they ask, oh, what are those things on the backs of the cards? Are they like bits of paper or something? And we have to explain, no, these cards are valuable, and also sleeved cards are a lot easier to shuffle than regular cards. So yeah, put your decks in sleeves, and then you're good to go.
Yeah, that's always a good tip to make sure that your deck's going to be in the best functioning fashion to see yourself through all of those Swiss rounds and also into that top cut. Getting into the matchup itself, Freya, what do you think are some of the key options that Hermanni can do to put Tord on the back foot in this matchup?
It is a tough one. I think that because there's this controlling package, you have to make sure that there isn't a door open for Tord to store something in the active. So maybe you might be a little bit reticent to bench either of those support Pokemon, but it's tough because you need something to put the Forest Steel Stone onto. So there's some weighing up to do there.
Lumineon can get back into the deck.
Oh, that's true.
Energy.
Oh, that's
an interesting debate.
Yeah, with the Aqua return. So I imagine Lumineon V then is going to be the sort of the V of choice.
I'm thinking on the fly as well right now. I don't know enough about Tord's deck. I'm seeing it for the first time, really.
It's going to be a new paradigm for all of us, I think, safe to say.
But I think we've seen the coin flip, and I think our players are finally able to shuffle, and we can get back to the table and into this top 4 game between Tord Reklev and Hermanni. Freya?
Yeah. Hietalahti.
That's great. I'm not getting close to that. No offense, Hermanni, if you're listening back. it's just tough for me.
I mean, I have to brush
tongue
up.
twister.
I mean, I was going to say I have to like brush up on my Nordic languages and like living in Denmark at all. But
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly. I'm giving you homework.
Yeah, but Finnish is so disconnected from the rest of the languages. I think the closest language to Finnish is Hungarian, I think, or something like that, just the way the language evolved. But yeah, fascinating language still.
There it is, the textbook Celebi plushie. We've seen it a number of times on stream because Tord's always there. But one of the cutest stories ever. It's knitted by his mum many years ago, and it's his lucky charm. And it's apparently a very, very lucky charm. I'd love to get my hands on that myself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, kind of a fitting Pokemon as well. I know Celebi is not exactly the luck Pokemon, but still, seen as a good spirit. So it makes a lot of sense that it's brought so much good fortune to Tord, faithfully by his side all this time. And gosh, but that plushie has held up very well over the years.
Yeah, and Hermanni is kind of the modicum of focus right now, looking so ready to get into the action here, not phased by having to wait around for Tord to resleep whatsoever, and is probably also thinking about what they can do. I'm sure with Tord being the last to finish, Hermanni was watching over Tord's shoulder and having a look at what's in the deck list, what strategy he was employing in that top 8 match.
Yeah, Hermanni channeling the Sisu finish spirit for sure there. It was a steely concentration. Look up that one at home if you don't know what it means.
Yeah, it's gone way above my head. But it looks like our players are finally getting into the action here. We're seeing the opening hands. A Comfey lead is no bad thing for Hermanni. Didn't quite see what Tord had. Was it Mimikyu there?
Yeah, I missed it as well. Let's see some prizes here. So
we saw a phenomenal carousel of prizes in day one from Tord.
Yeah.
We had a 50-50 to take the right cards. What have you seen, Freya?
I've seen some awkward stuff there. Rotom, the 2 Arven, a Hero's Cape as well.
Yeah, Hero's Cape. Obviously, whenever you see an A spec in those prize cards, that is an awkward situation. But we see the fist bump and lift off. Hermanni going to kick off the game here and has Comfey in the active up against Tord Reklev's Chi-Yu EX.
Ooh, yeah, definitely not something you want to start with straight away. Something that you want to maybe finish up the game with. Very interesting that, in this deck, Chi-Yu can, of course, not only do the first attack to mill 2 cards, but could maybe make use of that second attack if you really wanted to.
Yep, you got to do what you got to do.
Yeah.
And sometimes the Flame Surge can get into the action. Hermanni has a great start, able to Flower Select and then grab Buddy Buddy Poffin, and can already have a look at some crucial resources. We've seen Hermanni on stream a couple times, and they've always been diligent at doing this. You have a lot of important one-of Pokemon, as well as Hisuian Heavy Ball to track, and of course you play low counts of 4 different energy, I believe, in the deck list. So you've got to keep track of all of these resources throughout the entire game.
Yeah, Dark, Water, Lightning, and Psychic colors of choice for Hermanni in this deck list, making sense with all the different choices. And yeah, going to take a very quick, well, no, not a very quick, a very considered and careful look at the deck. You've got the time to do it in top 8.
Why not in top 4? You've got the additional time to scour through and make sure you're having a good look here at all the resources. Even the item cards are important to track, especially with Tord having access to Eri and being able to get rid of these at certain points in games. It's really important to know that you haven't just prized one and are banking on that to be part of your late game win condition.
Yeah, you absolutely are. Another very careful look here. Just going to be absolutely sure of what is available. As we do know in the prizes currently, it is that Lost Vacuum, a couple of energy, a Counter Catcher, a Comfey, and a Nest Ball. Nothing really too detrimental, actually, from Hermanni's side.
It's going to be an intricate decision throughout the game here for how aggressive Hermanni wants to play, because every time you're playing these switch cards and switches for tempo and ramping your Lost Zone, this is obviously helpful and putting pressure on Tord, but also with the amount of trapping strategies that Tord has in his back pocket, even without all these Snorlax and whatnot, maybe he can just trap things just by virtue of bossing up certain Pokemon and this, that, and the other. That's something he has to be careful of.
Yeah, he really, really does. 3 Comfeys coming down, though, so going to be able to set up the Lost Zone nicely on this turn 1. Yeah, just start firing off that switches, full turbo.
Yeah, I like getting to 7 as quickly as possible, unlock those Mirage Gates, unlock some of your highest damage output pressure, and as we've already mentioned, there's no mana fee in Tord's deck list, so if you can get to 7 quickly, as the Radiant Greninja comes straight to the hand, you can start pressurizing the Moonlight Shuriken. Yeah, and that is a great way to throw Tord off of having his best engine available, which is that Pidgeot EX.
Yeah, the sooner you can get that going, the better. It was one of the most devastating setup disrupt attacks with that Moonlight Shuriken and these Lost Zone toolbox decks. One of the decks that can make the best use of it, of course. Get 7 in the Lost Zone, fire off that Mirage Gate, power up that Radiant Greninja, and devastate your opponent's board.
And look at this Nest Ball for Rotom V early, so Hermanni can end on a monster hand size here with instant charge. We saw just how handy that was in our top 8 match Switch with Azul spamming it basically every turn. Hermanni doesn't quite use it that much in most ideal situations, but it does help you gain additional resources as he passes over to Tord with that ability.
It is funny, we did mention at the start, maybe the Luminion would be the choice of V in this matchup, but yeah, I guess like you said, Joe, in this instance, valuing the extra draw, thinking that Tord can't quite stall anything just yet. Oh wait, Tord just has a boss's orders and that's it?
Oh no. Well, it has Charmander.
Okay.
Are we going to begin using Chi-Yu? Why not? You have Fire Energy in hand, Jealousy Singe. Doesn't hit anything too important.
That's not too bad.
Townstore denies the early access to Forest Seal Stone.
Yeah, oh, that's rough though. I mean, essentially, Hermanni's in a good position to just kind of steal this game. Can't quite win straight away, of course. The Chi-Yu does have 190 HP, so can't go for the double knockout, but close enough, right?
Finds the Forest Seal Stone as well from this Colrus.
Uh-oh.
We can start seeing some fireworks. I think there's Water Energy in the hand as well, so you could still use that Radiant Greninja early. If you can get to 7, I believe there's also the Lost Vacuum in hand as well. There is.
Oh.
I think there's quite an easy route to 7 cards in the Lost Zone here. There's Prime Catcher already in the hand also. Some additional switching cards.
Yeah, Lost Vacuum, so great, not just for, of course, getting rid of tools, but just the fact that you can essentially use it to turbo your way into 7, and that's exactly what Hermanni needs in this instance to capitalize on this slow start that Tord has had.
Going to be a quick switch by the looks of things from Hermanni, get this Rotom out of harm's way and send a Comfey up, because we still need to get to 7 cards if we are going to unlock these Mirage Gates. Should be pretty easy with this one flower selecting, and then possibly the Lost Vacuum plus Forest Seal Stone combination later in the turn. Yeah,
there's Luminion plus a Stadium, it looked like. Yeah, it was that Pokestop. So with that, definitely has an easy target to, you know, Lost Vacuum yourself to 7 in the Lost Zone.
You could keep gaining resources with a Pokestop if you wish.
Although, I guess if you play the Pokestop, you do risk giving your opponent an opening as well. So maybe, yeah, so might want to hold off on it for now.
Well, you're going to vacuum it, right?
Yeah, you vacuum it, and it's fine, yeah.
But it's going to be Forest Seal Stone. This is also another way that you could activate Lost Vacuum to get you +2 cards in the Lost Zone. And in the process, you can find any 1 card you like.
Yeah, so I guess in this instance, though, because if you want to get more resources from the Pokestop, you may as well, as you mentioned, vacuum the Pokestop, right? Play that to get the resources, deny Tord from using it, and then just really have the means to piece together the win next turn, because Tord's hand is atrocious. I mean,
all I saw was Palpads. I didn't see what else was in there.
There was a Mimikyu, which you can bench just to not lose, but then if you go Moonlight Shuriken, you know, 180 on the Chi-Yu, KO the Charmander, another Moonlight Shuriken wins the game.
Yep. Wow, so Tord's in top deck mode from the off.
Okay.
It's going to be the Lost Vacuum, getting rid of Palpad.
Probably not going to slap down the Pokestop in that instance then, I imagine.
Yeah, most likely just going to hold on to this, and it's as we're expecting. The Radiant Greninja is going to get into the action so quickly here. Hermanni off to an amazing start.
Yeah. Just want to draw quick attention whilst this is going on. Ross just has come in with a report. Azul hit a 5-card Misfortune Sisters against his opponent in top 4.
These are great updates from Ross. This is great to hear. That's got to hurt. That's got to sting for John.
Yeah. John's going to be reeling right now, I'm sure, justifiably so.
Speaking of stinging, Tord's in a tough spot. Really hasn't had much to do as Hermanni is running away with game 1.
Yeah.
Thanks to an amazing Mirage Gate plus turn attachment combination.
Rescue, emergency board in hand as well to retreat this Comfey. And yeah, just going to be Moonlight Shuriken, leaving Tord 10 HP away from losing the game.
My goodness. This is maximum pressure that you can exert right now from Hermanni.
Moonlight Shuriken, what does Tord find after this? Is there any way to carry on in this game? He's a very big top deck here. It's going to be Moonlight Shuriken, 180 damage KO. What's the draw? Was that...
Roseanne's back up. It's nothing.
No, that's it.
You can bench. Well, you need to reload the energy in Mirage Gate from a mini, so it's not like guaranteed over.
Oh, and you have the penny, okay. Yeah, all right. So it's not over, but... Oof.
It's not it.
No, it's not it.
It's pretty bad.
It's close enough, right?
It's going to be a pass.
Oh. Yeah, so now I guess, there is the slight complication if you need to reload the energy, right? I guess in this instance, you don't even bother using the Prime Catcher. You're happy to just go 90-90, because then next turn you can still win by finishing off the Chi-Yu, right?
Well, there's Roaring Moon and Prime Catcher and Darkness Energy in hand, so you could just, rather than using Greninja this turn, you could Roaring Moon KO the Chi-Yu.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
powering up Roaring Moon makes a lot of sense because it then threatens Pidgeot for later and Charizard for later if there is a late game.
Yeah, and not only that, but Frenzy Gouging does go through Mimikyu's ability.
That's also true.
Yeah, so worst comes to worst, you can just, you know, use the one-hit KO button and deal with the Mimikyu.
Is spoiled for choice right now. The energy are going to get reloaded via the Super Rod, and I believe there's another Mirage Gate in hand.
Yeah, so, okay, in this instance, just going to, not going to bother with the Roaring Moon, leaving it on the field for later, but, you know, just going to go for the second Moonlight Shuriken.
I think we are going Roaring Moon. I think we're going to be spending... Yeah, here we go.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Getting into the mix. Makes sense. You're still threatening that Mimikyu next turn.
And oh, you had the Pokestop in hand, so you can just go
stop, so you don't have the Frenzy Gouge. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Prime Catcher, Calamity Storm, KO the Chi-Yu, and then Tord is still left with basically nothing.
This has been such a flawless opener from Hermanni, and I think you have to give credit to the Rotom. That's helped in accumulating these resources.
Yeah, it really has.
Just not skip a beat.
I wonder, is Hermanni even going to like not bother with the Pokestop? I mean, surely you may as well, right?
The only fear would be Eerie.
Oh,
no,
I guess
going to be discarded, so that's why we're not seeing a spin of the stop.
Yeah.
It's just Mimikyu and another top deck for Tord Reklev. Let's see what it is.
Hisuian Heavy Ball?
Hisuian Heavy.
You can...
There's a Rotom in there.
Yeah, Rotom. Tord hanging on by the edge of his seat just about.
Oh, this is rough.
I guess you could draw some cards now, but I guess now it's just a matter of you're so far behind in prizes, right? There's just no way to disrupt Hermanni enough at this point.
I wouldn't say no way, but,
no,
you're pretty behind.
I mean, it is Tord we're talking about, so you know he does somehow manage to find a way in many situations like this in the past. So yeah, it isn't over until it's over.
With Prime Catcher played, the Rotom can be safe on the bench for a turn. It's not going to get picked off.
Yeah, oh yeah, is there no other card to bring something up for Hermanni? It's just
Counter Catcher, yeah.
Right, okay.
I see a Roseanne's backup. Supporter cards that you don't see all that often. It gets back a Pokemon from the discard pile, a tool, a stadium, and an energy card, and shuffles them back into the deck.
I mean, there's a way to get back Hero's Cape, right? Very, very strong.
That's one of the big hits, yeah, no doubt. Sometimes TM Devolution could be a big hit to bring back. Things like Mist Energy for the right matchup can be huge.
Palpad as well coming in to put the 1 penny back into the deck. Like, Tord just needs to find things to help him stay in the game right now. So yeah, any chance to hit an out to stay alive is exactly what he's digging for.
That's the situation we're in. Tord is back against the wall in this first game. Hermanni is putting on so much pressure. Finally, Tord can draw more than 1 card a turn, though, at the very least.
Yeah, instant charge, very much coming in clutch here. So really clutch find off the Hisuian Heavy Ball. Gonna put fire on as well.
You're expecting this Mimikyu to get KO'd, so you can move this Rotom out next turn.
It does fine. Oh, okay. It's a Counter Catcher, a Luxray V, and was that a Lost Vacuum, I believe?
No time wasted for Hermanni, grabbing their own damage counters for themselves because they're going to Frenzy Gouge through this Mimikyu, going down to just 2 prize cards remaining.
Yeah, and what does Tord find here? It's another Fire Energy. It's not nothing, but I don't think it's enough at this point.
It's pretty woeful. Yeah. It's pretty bad. It's going to be a concession in this first game. Tord with a really wonky opener. Not much consistency whatsoever. Hermanni, though, really put on as much pressure as he possibly could in that first game, and it really paid off.
Yeah, Tord, I think, did just about the best he could with the atrocious start that he had, and credit where credit is due there, but Hermanni as well, capitalizing on that horrible start that Tord had, closing all the doors to steal that game 1. Really, really well played from Hermanni there.
Yeah, and again, it's a nod to the deck list. A lot of other builds would just have Raikou V, and that would be on the board, not getting any additional value. But thanks to the 3 cards drawn from Rotom there, Hermanni was able to construct some insane turns back-to-back.
Yeah, some insane turns back-to-back there, finding the Prime Catcher to be able to bring out the Mimikyu and just being able to put together the extra cards to get 7 into the Lost Zone super early, so you can go for that early Moonlight Shuriken. Just so strong that Hermanni was able to do. The pressure just out of the gate was immense.
The good news, though, for Tord and fans of Tord is that there's over an hour still on the clock to take 2 victories. So won't be phased by this. He's been in stickier situations before and found a way out of it.
Yeah, also
I already see a better hand this time.
I mean, he started with a Cleffer, so yeah, that's already a way better start than last time for sure. Let's see some prize cards. Oh, Rotom and Hero Escape at the prizes
again! Oh man, it's rough.
Yes.
The Rotom's a one of in Tord's list, but at least has Cleffer as that other fallback option. Hermanni is going to be going first, and once again has a opening buddy poffin to begin grabbing some Comfey and selecting some flowers.
Yeah, it's very important to know that in this game, it's much more likely that we kind of see what the interplay is going to be like. In the game one, we didn't really get to see much of that. You know, Tor just kind of had a horrible start and was just trying to use these small margins to keep himself in it. But I think here we're going to see a bit more interesting of the interplay between how these two decks interact.
Yeah, I still don't know how the matchup goes. I'm none the wiser. Game one was chaos.
You can figure it out with us at home.
I'm still trying to piece it all together myself. As Hermanni's going to do that diligent deck check. You have so much time in these top cut games to look through all of these resources. Going to check those rods, those Mirage Gates, also the good old Prime Catcher, because these are all targets that Tord may look to eerie at some point, so making sure you keep track of all of those makes a lot of sense here. Also, if you've spotted that Luminion, making sure that you have access to the Hisuian Heavy Ball also makes a ton of sense. A few interesting one-offs in the deck list, the likes of Palpad, also can be important to keep track of.
It's definitely one of the most interesting Lost Zone Toolbox decks I've seen in a long time, just with all the different choices, and especially like we talked about at the beginning with the choice of like the support Pokemon V rather than the attacking ones. The Rotom V is such a cool innovation.
Yeah, wasn't one I was expecting whatsoever. Sometimes you just rely on Raikou to be an additional lightning-style attacker, but just drawing 3 additional cards in a format where there's not many archetypes that actually run Iono, it's
absolutely.
such a strong choice.
It really is. So there it is, Buddy Poffin, played for the 2 Comfey Nest Ball coming in as well. Maybe, I was going to say, could find that Rotom V straight away, but no, does go for that Radiant Greninja first. Yeah,
the Rotom is in Hermanni's deck right now, not in Tord's. That's another Nest Ball though, so it could still find its way onto the board.
Yes.
There's a number of basic energy in Hermanni's hands, so can pay retreat into Comfey, in addition to using concealed cards this turn.
Yeah, it's not bad, right? We saw how the 3 cards from the instant charge were so vital to setting up a really devastating turn 2 for Hermanni. Right. It could just happen again.
Absolutely could. Hermanni's doing everything to get themselves in the best position possible and grow that hand size. Tord, though, we've already seen there's a slightly better hand on his end at the very least. I saw Iono, and we have a clever start this time around, so at least end the turn on a number of cards.
I guess so, although if Tord doesn't find any other basics, we could see the game end very early with another Moonlight Shuriken. That Iono is going to be very crucial.
It's a really big point for Air because, again, with no Manaphy protection, there's only maximum 2 copies of Charmander and 2 copies of Pidgey in the list. So if Hermanni gets enough cards in the Lost Zone this turn, they can start putting that pressure on with Moonlight Shuriken all over again.
Yep, so here it is. Retreat, Flower selecting, the first one of this game, finds a switch card, and oh, what was that other card in the hand?
Mirage Gate?
Oh, it might.
Must have been. If you're getting rid of switch card, yeah, it's Mirage Gate.
Yeah, and okay, here's the thing. With this situation, even though you only got 1 in the Lost Zone, with the combination of Chorus's Experiment and Lost Vacuum, you can still get to 7 next turn.
It really is. That's all you need. It looks not that impressive, but it's enough, especially when Hermanni plays 2 copies of that Lost Vacuum. That 7 is very much on the table.
It is. Oh, there's an Ultra Ball from Tord as he starts off his turn. Definitely going to want to play that to get another basic down, maybe one that's big enough to withstand a Moonlight Shuriken, but also thinking I want to get a Charmander down. Actually, we're going to go. Is that going to be straight for the Luxray?
Yeah, there's double turbo in hand, and Clever does have free retreats.
Oh.
So you could go Iono into Fang Snipe and start trying to take out resources immediately.
Yeah, I like the play. It's
one of your tankiest Pokemon, like you said, Freya. That's part of the combination you're looking for. You could try and get an early call for family with Pidgey as well. That's another play you could look to do.
Yeah, I guess that's the difference with this style of Charizard, right? You don't necessarily have to, turbo focus in on getting the Charmander set up straight away. You can just take a control approach here, put down this Luxray, maybe snipe a few resources and wait for the later until you attack with the Charizard.
I think it makes sense when there's just the 1 copy of Double Turbo in the list and it just happens to be in this opening hand. You're going to see a fresh 6 from Iono anyway. You've just seen Hermanni draw a bunch of cards on turn 1. Let's immediately throw those back to the bottom of the deck.
And with the Iono, there's no way to sort of play around, a Fang Snipe in this instance. The Iono's going to get played, the Double Turbo is attached, and whatever Hermanni draws is going to be vulnerable to that Fang Snipe there from the Luxray V.
So all the hard work Hermanni did on turn 1, undone by an early Iono. And let's see if Tord can get any additional basics into play. With this low hit point Cleffa, do you feel like you may as well put 2 Pidgey down anyway, or do you have to wait until Cleffa's dealt with to start putting like 1 Pidgey down at a time? What do you feel? What do you think?
It is a tough one because if you put 2 Pidgey down, you're just going to target the 2 Pidgey, right, and then you just leave the Cleffa out. So it doesn't make too much of a difference in that regard. I think the main thing you're worried about here is just what Tord can snipe out your hand with his Luxray. There's also not anything he can do about it either. Yeah,
Tord having to look at his ace spec in the prizes right now. Also a Bravery Charm in there. Yeah, those are some awkward prizes.
Yeah. Was able to get the Rotom out at least, though.
Yeah, that's nice. Maybe you retreat into Luxray and still use Rotom instead of just leaving that little vulnerable Clefairy in the active position. That's also a possibility.
Yeah, there is a Charmander there in the hand as well, so could put that down, but then, of course, that would enable a pretty devastating Moonlight Shuriken, so going to leave it in the hand for now, maybe, thinking about it. It has put it to the side of the hand there. Maybe you think, with the Fang Snipe, it's unlikely that Hermanni hits this?
Yeah, I think especially with Fang Snipe, you're right. It's going to make it a little bit more tricky.
Yeah, especially with the hand like that. Oh, my goodness.
Some great resources to hit. I think if you're terrified of Shuriken, you take out the Vacuum here.
But it is any trainer that can discard, right? Yeah.
Oh, you can get rid of the chorus, of course.
Yeah. I was
That's much better. I'm so focused on Eri.
Yeah, I mean, this is even better, of course, because, yeah, I mean, Eri can get rid of items, but Fang Snipe can get rid of any trainer. So, yeah, take out the one thing that you can't get with the Eri.
Although if Torb was thinking it was just one copy of Vacuum, there's still justification for that, I suppose.
Yeah,
I'm reaching a little bit. I'm going to be honest, it's a chorus, for goodness sake.
So going to have to find another one off of this concealed cards. 2 cards drawn. No chorus experiment, but does see a Mirage Gate and a switch. So could maybe go for some flower selecting, try to dig a bit further. Yeah,
so many cards you can still see thanks to the abilities that are already on board. Even with your supporter taken away from you, you can still make something come together. You've already got Cramorants on board as well. I think it was a tricky choice. It was a switch card having to get discarded versus a Super Rod, I think it was.
Yeah, understandably you want to keep that, especially against control. You need to be able to get those resources back. There's a emergency board as well, bringing into the active the other Comfey. Flower selecting number 2. What does Hermanni find? Eventually.
Still a couple of switches already in the hand. There's Forest Seal Stone.
Oh, that's huge.
Gets rid of that second lost Vacuum. Can we get to 7 now, actually? We could Forest Seal Stone, possibly find. Well, I don't think we can get Greninja live.
But we can get.
We could use Roaring Moon, perhaps.
But I mean, we can get to 7, yeah, because of the combination of Vacuum Colress, right?
Yeah, with Colress as well.
Yeah.
That's certainly going to be the choice from Forest Seal Stone. I was thinking if you can guarantee it just with a 1-card piece like Mirage Gate or
right,
or something like that.
I mean, there's 1 Mirage Gate in hand, right? From what we can see.
Oh, we still need the Colress obviously to be played to get to 7.
Yeah,
so that's still a critical piece.
Yeah, and I think depending on what you find off this Colress, that's going to determine the line you take, because. If you can just do a Moonlight Shuriken and take out the Clefairy and the Charmander here, I don't think you care too much about what gets Fang Snipe next.
No, you're right. That's true. So another potentially huge turn here for Hermanni.
Yeah, and we know one of the pieces is in hand already. With the choice of using the escape board, there is a switch cart ready to go in hand to bring the Greninja active. So it's just whether you can find the pieces to get this Moonlight Shuriken powered up. So here it is, Chorus's experiment. What does Hermanni find? It's going to be a very big 5 cards here.
We're looking for Mirage Gates. Basic Water Energy would be huge.
Oh, that's a basic one.
Oh, Water and Mirage Gates.
He just has it all.
Once again, turn 2 Moonlight Shuriken. From 1 to 7 in a turn.
Hermanni doing, not missing a single beat here, and if you're Todd, you've got to be feeling like, what can I do against this?
You are under so much pressure once again. Your board is far from ideal, left with just a Luxray V.
And actually, not only that, important to mention as well, there was a Water Energy discarded earlier, but Hermanni took the Super Rod off of the first Flower selecting, so you can guarantee that the energy's in the deck.
Such a heads-up play.
There it is, 7 in the Lost Zone. And I mean, you got a Super Rod first, right? Just to make sure. Oh no, I mean, I guess he's confident there's another Water in the deck.
Must be aware of their prize cards. I mean, they took a long time looking through.
Yeah,
so there's no misstep here.
Yeah, no, there is no Water prize. We can see it. Hermanni can see it. Yeah, there it is. Water plus, is that? Oh, it must be Dark, I guess.
Yeah, it looks like a Dark Energy to me.
Yep.
Playing lots of various hollow energy cards might help the prize checking. You know that's something that our players like to do here. Various artworks of Pokemon.
Yeah, the foil effects sometimes make the cards look bluer than they actually are. Right. Sometimes it's a little bit hard to tell the difference. But yeah, no, we can just see here. That is a Dark and a Water. We know that the other Water's in hand, so yeah, pretty much a perfect Chorus's experiment, to be honest.
My goodness. This is just the dream scenario. You've caught Tord Reklev in a bad position 2 times in a row, and you've taken maximum punishment with Radiant Greninja back to back. Yeah. 2 prizes up for Hermanni. Tord once again in top deck mode. He has Arven, can start re-establishing some semblance of a board.
Yeah, but what is it? It's Arven, Arven, Rotom, and a bunch of fire energy.
Yeah, that's really bad. That's not something you want to see here.
Yeah. And it's understandable in a list like this, you have to make some cuts somewhere, right? So it makes sense that you don't play the Mana Fee. But in this instance, you just can't put down any weak things. You know Hermanni can just set up another Moonlight Shuriken, and you just can't get your Pidgeots and your Charmanders out.
Both of your hit point buffing tools are gone as well. They're in the prize cards right now, the Bravery Charm and the Hero's Cape. Tord only plays 1 copy of each of those. So it's going to be Arven for no tool card whatsoever.
Yeah. Okay, there is one thing going in Tord's favor. Can Fang Snipe again? There is another Mirage Gate in the hand.
That's huge.
Yeah, so that's definitely going to be an instant slam in the discard, I'm fairly sure.
That's one of the only things Tord could do to defend himself right now.
Yep.
Try and snipe some resources from Hermanni's hand.
I guess unless you think there's more likely to be, there's more Mirage Gates than Super Rods, so maybe hit the Super Rod instead just to stop the engine going back.
Both good choices, honestly.
Yeah, I think that's going to be the debate that Tord has as soon as he announces this Fang Snipe, and there it is. So
Tord's going to have to take a look, because it's almost his nightmare that there's three very good cards in that hand. I think with double Super Rod, the choice is made for him.
Oh yeah, there's two in hand, okay.
Yeah, you have to take the Mirage Gate there. We didn't quite see it until it was fanned out.
Yeah.
Too busy thinking about fangs.
I mean, it's very fitting again, right? So yeah, now it's going to be on Hermanni to find another Mirage Gate. The Super Rod is already in hand, so if you can find another Mirage Gate, then it's going to be another blowout turn for Hermanni. Can he find it? 1, 2...
Oh,
wait, they're
straight
the first
away.
straw!
We're trying to cause some jeopardy out here and make it look like it's difficult, but Hermanni is not missing a beat whatsoever.
Just had it, Joe. Just had it.
Another it's got to be demoralizing for Tord. Seeing the one action you made last turn was to get double Pidgey, and they're just going to go again.
That is now 3 Mirage Gates gone, though, isn't it? Because one played, one discarded, one played now. So there's only one more left in the deck. So maybe an opening for Tord there. But even with that, I mean, it feels so bad.
Yeah, the only thing lacking maybe is that Hermanni could start manually attaching to something else. If we get Rory into the mix and we start manually attaching to that, that's when we start feeling really worried for Tord.
Yeah, that is the thing you can do. You can attach energy cards from your hand as well. You don't need to Mirage Gate all the time.
It's possible.
Only one per turn, though.
Hermanni taking a look to see, because there are still draws available in the hand with so many switching effects still in Hermanni's hand.
Yep. Oh, another Wassy update here for you guys. Azul has won game 1 against John Eng, and after a 5-card misfortune, this was perhaps not a surprising outcome.
Yeah, that may have been important in how the game played out, as Hermanni once again back-to-back Greninja here. Really putting as much pressure on as possible from Tord and denying all of this draw. Yeah,
Tord's poker face is as strong as ever, but in this instance, I think he knows his back is against the wall. He knows that Hermanni, as you just mentioned, Joe, not missing a beat, having devastating turn after devastating turn, and just needs to find some way to put it back together, but wow, look at that.
Unsurprising, double Pidgey hits the discard pile. Hermanni just 2 prize cards away, already a game up in this top 4 from securing their place in the finals. How can Tord put himself into the safest possible situation?
There's a Rotom V, there's a Forest Seal Storm, yeah.
We've got Countercatcher, lots of 1 retreat cost Pokemon on Hermanni's side of the field. Probably has to be a hand disruption supporter here, you'd imagine.
Yeah, I guess if you really wanted to, you could have put the Forest Seal Stone on the Luxray just so that it's something slightly higher HP that, in order to... but I don't know what that necessarily would help really with...
Yeah, all the hit point buffing tools are in the prizes. So you can't really put much else on the Luxray, as you mentioned, Freya.
Yeah, that's the really brutal thing. I mean, 2 games in a row as well, Rotom and Hero Escape prize, and in this instance, the Bravery Charm too, when he needed it most.
Didn't actually see the selection from Tord there. I have to think it was Iono. That makes the most sense to me, unless he wants to try and go with Eerie instead. Very aggressively.
Yeah, although at this point, Tord is, it has to be, right? Although Tord's probably thinking, I bet I'm going to play Ino, it's just going to be the other Mirage Gate, isn't it?
Not like this.
No, not like this.
It is the Countercatcher onto Hermanni's Rotom, and then the Iono. Hermanni just going to get 2 cards, and Iono will give Tord a fresh 6 to start making a comeback.
Yeah, something I want to draw attention to, Hermanni takes a good look at his hand anytime he gets Iron Node. He wants to know what's going to the bottom so that he knows what he doesn't have access to. Very, like, a small detail, but very important to pick up on.
Yeah, especially when Mirage Gate's one of those crucial cards that he's going to be looking towards, because you need to know what energy you're shuffling back into the deck.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, was that Roxanne Dark Energy from Hermanni?
Yeah, so not great, but does give them access to maybe retreats or
concealed cards.
Go with concealed cards. Even just retreat and hit with Cramorant is pressure.
Yeah, actually, that's a good point. You just, you don't need to do anything flashy, right?
Yeah, it's going to be super odd from Tord. If at first you don't succeed, try again to get these little basics into play.
Yeah. If you're Tord, do you go for the Fang Snipe or the instant charge here? I think it
depends on the hand.
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I guess.
It depends how far away we are.
There's a
see an Ultra Ball.
Yep, get rid of a rare candy. Gorgeous one from Holon Phantoms, a big fan favorite I know for a bunch of the veteran players.
Yeah, Churro Scenario versus another Countercatcher in the hand as well. Tord's going to re-establish the Pidgey. think the hand's so poor, you probably do end up having to use Rotom here.
Yeah, I guess so. And it is rough, right? Because if you combine the Fang Snipe with the Iron, you can almost like guarantee that there's no way to draw out of it. I guess in this instance, all you'd be discarding is a Roxanne, so you don't really care too much. But, you know, it's still would have been nice to have the knowledge.
Yeah, Todd's not to know that, of course.
No.
Just cross your fingers at this point. You know that with such an awkward start, you're really going to need some good fortune at some point in this top 4 game to make a comeback.
Oh, beep, 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 beep. We just got a word come in. Azul has won 2-0 against John Eng, and so will be advancing to the finals to face one of these two players.
It was Rotom picking up 3 more cards, and Hermanni's top deck was Switch Cart, so can go straight into Comfey here.
Big top deck.
Let's start seeing some flower selectings.
Yep. 1, 2. Is that Chorus Experiment?
My goodness. It's been all Hermanni this game. It's absolutely crazy. Flawless execution of how to go through the game with Lost Zone bots.
Okay, didn't hit the Mirage Gate, to be fair, at the very least, but wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm speechless, Joe. I'm honestly speechless.
How else can you pressurize Tord here? I really like just retreating and hitting with Cramorant.
Yeah, I think that's the best move.
This turn, and then just holding more resources for the next turn. You are having to get rid of a Super Rod here, a little bit painful, but on the balance, you're very happy with this.
Yeah, I think it's just fine, right? You have so many other energy in the deck. You don't really need to, do a lot of loading up. As long as you hit that one Mirage Gate, you're pretty much good to go. And as you mentioned, Joe, you can even just start, attaching manually, power something up. I mean, there's no Roaring Moon, but maybe you just go for Moonlight Shuriken again.
There's a real temptation, to keep digging for this Mirage Gate. If you take out that Pidgey for good, you know Tord can't construct the best turn possible next turn.
But Counter Catcher Dark Energy is the pickup. So, Hermanni finally not having an ideal turn in this series.
Yeah, having to think about what's not the best turn possible. Didn't find any Ball Search, though. It would have been nice, once again, to just get a turn attachment onto Roaring Moon. That also would have been huge this turn.
But I think ultimately, you're right, Joe. Just you don't need to be mega flashy here. You missed your big turn, but just hit with the Cramorant. There's so much pressure, right? And it forces Tord to find a penny.
Is it ever their temptation to use Rotom instead here?
I guess that would be the only debate, right? And I guess I can see that as well. It's got to be between those two. I think Hermanni's leaning towards the Cramorant, but you can see he's agonizing over it.
I think when you have Colress in hand, I like the pressure with Cramorant and that a little bit more.
Yeah, and he does have it, doesn't he?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, found it off of the other Colress that he got. So
sure did. As you pass over to Tord, what can he do to put himself in a better situation? The 3 cards from Rotom did get the Ultra Ball Candy combinations and can get Pidgeot EX finally into play.
At long last. Wow. It took a while, but we got there.
It's been a journey to get this one Pidgeot.
To put it lightly, but we got there. So Ultra Ball discards Roseanne's backup and Buddy Puffin, finds the Pidgeot. The rare candy is ready to go in hand, and we're finally going to see a Stage 2 come out in this game.
What a relief for Tord to finally get something going this time around. Now has the option maybe just to undo the damage on this Luxray. Maybe just a Penny's good enough this turn. Penny up the Luxray, go into the free retreating Pidgeot, get back into Fang Snipe perhaps is your best play.
I like it. It's especially...
You can counter catch as well.
I wonder, though, what do you discard from Hermanni's hand here? There are a few good resources, but nothing game-winning in there as it currently stands. Oh, wait, it's the Chorus. Yeah. No, what am I saying?
Probably still Chorus.
Good bit of cardboard, that, innit?
Yeah, sure is. The build around of the Lost Zone deck is that the first thing you put on the deck list is 4 copies of Colress Experiment.
Yeah, and then maybe Luminion B for good measure to search it, even though that might be the only supporter you play in some of these variants.
Tord did indeed go for Penny for the sort of turn reset. And if you can combine Counter Catcher as well here, maybe Tord has to just still hope that he can hold this Counter Catcher for later for more value. That might be a debate.
Yeah, because there's nothing that great to Counter Catcher up here.
Just
like
Rotom. 1 retreat cost Pokemon, yeah.
There it is.
You're certainly seeing the Penny into the free retreating Pidgeots.
Yeah, that's no doubt about that at the very least. And we are going to see the Fang Snipe as well. I think there's no question about that. There's no way that you're getting more value out of... Oh, hold on a second. Are we going to see...
You can start taking out some threats instead. Going to go for the Comfey here with the rescue boards.
So taking away the pivot option, really.
Yeah, certainly an interesting choice. You know that you're going to need more hand disruptors if you're going to make this comeback.
But now that does mean that Hermanni gets to keep his Chorus Experiment, so he's going to fire that off straight away.
Yeah, I think Tord is in that hedging sort of situation where there's already so many Chorus played. Maybe there's a decent chance it's not in hand.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Happens to be in the hand right now.
Yeah, going to bring up the Comfey in any case. Is there a switching card in Hermanni's hand? I don't think I see one right now, actually. Yeah, no switching card currently. Finds a Nest Ball.
Pretty big.
Oh, that's huge. That's
certainly a
absolutely
piece
huge.
because Tord's obviously worried that Hermanni's only 2 prize cards away from winning the game, so any 2 prizes that was in the active could be immediately KO'd via Roaring Moon EX.
Yeah, I guess that's the exact problem there. So yeah, the Luxray too much of a risk in that instance. Prime Catcher is
Roaring Moon finding its way into play.
Yeah, and Prime
Hermanni
Catcher
looking for Prime Catcher and looking for the last Mirage Gates. That would close the game this turn.
Yep, the energy's already in hand, so just attachment plus a Mirage Gate will get the job done. The Super Rod's there as well to put energy back into the deck.
Yeah. These are the combo pieces we need to construct here. Not sure if Hermanni has Darkness Energy already in hand. I think there's, I think there's some energy.
Yeah, I do believe there is.
So we're slowly edging closer towards taking out at least a pivot and forcing more actions, but it's going to be a big chorus once again. We've said it a few times this game.
Actually, was that? No, I think I was wrong. It's not a Dark to Psychic Energy.
Psychic, yeah.
But conceal cards, though.
Yep.
That can come in.
There's also a Darkness Energy. So
is that?
So many options.
Oh, so you just do both. Get Conceal cards to Psychic away, and then maybe you could Chorus first.
You know you're always using Chorus.
Yeah.
But you also know you're always using Radiant Greninja, so I like just seeing the 2 first here.
Yeah. Switch plus Sableye.
Switch is a nice piece.
Means
to
you
at
can
least keep pressurizing this turn, even if you don't find the Prime Catcher. But here's the big 5.
Chorus Experiments. 5
Super
cards. There is this. There's the Prime Catcher.
We're just lacking Mirage Gate at this stage. So close to locking up this game 2. Edging closer. Hermanni just has to make sure they don't take a misstep here.
Do you not want to keep the Buddy Puffin to get another Comfey?
You need that last board space open, don't you? No, you don't.
It's already down,
It's already down. But it's just based on how many switching cards are still remaining as well.
I guess so.
With the cart also finding its way into the lost zone now.
Oh, wait,
was picked up regardless.
So
it's
that's
the same
better.
situation.
Yeah, so, well, not better, but it's the same. You can just thin one more out of the deck. There it is, Nest Ball. There it is. Oh, it's right at the bottom of the deck as well.
How many cards are we looking at? Is it 6 cards remaining in the deck for a couple flower selectings to get there? Obviously, a cool thing about Prime Catcher is that you can throw a different Pokemon into the active and still move a Comfey afterwards. Gets you an extra dip. Great synergy within the list.
The odds are very much with Hermanni here. It's going to be first flower selecting. Oh, wait.
Pokestop might be the guarantee, actually.
Yeah, that's it.
As long as you counted the deck correctly, Hermanni just has to be patient here, use this flower selecting, and with a combination of the last Mirage Gates and Super Rod, should be able to power up Roaring Moon plus Prime Catcher. Let's see it, Hermanni.
Slam that Pokestop, spin it.
Going to get the last 2 cards in the deck, including that Mirage Gate. And here we go, Super Rodding back in the energy, and Hermanni is doing everything required to get the game. Soda Pal Pad. Not going to be important, but these are the energy required.
You want to make sure you don't mess
it up. But he knows at this stage. 3 energy on Roaring Moon EX. Prime Catcher up the Rotom V, and can announce the Frenzied Gouging, and Hermanni makes it to the finals.
Hermanni with the pop-off, absolutely delighted to make the finals, and in all honesty, against Tord of all players as well. I know Tord had the rough starts, but what a dominant performance from Hermanni there.
Yeah, the deck was running so smoothly. I'm already sold on Rotom. I think that game proved right there. We've seen Hermanni a few times on this stream, and they've been constructing some crazy combinations. This isn't the first time we've seen Greninja pop-offs early from this list, and that's down to the way the build has been constructed, with the double Lost Vacuum helping you get to 7, even with just 1 use of Comfey on turn 1. Still, Hermanni was able to get the dream of Greninja on turn 2.
This feels like cycling all the way back. I mean, I'm feeling like a full circle all the way back to the start of the Lost Zone era, where we saw these turbo lists with multiple Lost Vacuum just to get to 7 early on. And we are seeing why those early builds did that. And it's been like a little bit